All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to start talking about states of matter. The big idea we're going to learn is what physical changes and energy changes occur as matter goes from one state to another. What happens to an item when it goes from a solid to a liquid to a gas, and what kind of energy does that take? So that's what we're going to learn over the next few weeks. Today we're going to start with lesson 1 from chapter 8. We're going to talk about solids, liquids, and gases. So the first concept you're going to learn is how do particles move in solids, liquids, and gases. That's a big idea. How do they move? How are the forces between particles different in solids, liquids, and gases? So there's a difference in how they move and the attractive force between the particles. And lastly, when it's all said and done, you should be able to explain the different particle arrangements and the movements in solids, liquids, and gases. So the vocabulary that we're going to be discussing today is what is a solid, a liquid, what is viscosity, surface tension, what is a gas, and what is vapor. Okay, so these are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 words we're going to talk about. So there are two factors that determine the state of matter. Okay, two things that determine whether something's going to be a solid, liquid, or gas. One of them is the motion of the particles in the matter. Okay, how do they move? And what forces are between the particles in the matter? Again, motion and forces. You have matter's all made up of little particles, and what state of matter it is in depends on the motion and the force. Now, regardless of how close particles are to each other, they have a random motion, movement in all directions at all different speeds. And there are these collisions of particles that usually change the speed and direction of the particles' movements. Okay, so these particles are slamming into each other, or sliding past each other, bouncing around, or really close to each other, vibrating. Now, in some matter, the particles move very slowly, very slow, and they vibrate in place. The attractive force between particles that are very close, that vibrate in place, is very strong. Okay, they have this bond together. That's why you see these arrows going back and forth to one another right here. Right here shows that their force is strong, and that little round things next to them show they're vibrating. Now, in other matter, the particles move faster and they slip past each other. As you can see, there's a little bit of a gap here. Okay, the distance increases and the attractive force is weaker than the last picture. Finally, in other matter, the particles move very fast. Okay, so you see these purple little balls flying around. They have a little shadow behind them. That's because the distance is great between them, and their attractive force is very weak. Okay, so they're able to move a lot more freer than the first picture you saw. Now, basically in summary, let's break this down. Particles move more slowly and can only vibrate in place, so their attractive force is strong. While others kind of slip and slide past one another, their attractive force is a little weaker because they spread out. Now, the third one, the particles are moving very, very fast, and that is because the attractive force is very weak. So you could kind of figure out that the closer they are, the stronger the force. The farther they are, the more distance, the weaker the force between the objects. So as the motion of particles slow, the particles move closer. The attractive force becomes stronger. As the motion of the particles increases, the particles move farther apart. The attractive force becomes even weaker. So let's look at solids, and this is your first vocab word.
Solid. Matter that has a definite shape and a definite volume.
This is what you're going to write down. So solid is a matter that has a definite shape and a definite volume. I want you to write that as a definition. Now, on the bottom of your Cornell sheet, you see a spot for a picture. And this is the picture I would like you to try to draw. Now, solids have a definite shape and a definite volume. The smartboard has a definite shape and a definite volume. I can measure that, length times width times height, to get the volume right. The particles are packed very tightly and there's a strong attractive force between them. And they actually, believe it or not, if you get to the very small microscopic atomic level, you can see that the particles will be vibrating in place. But the attractive force between the particles in a solid are strong and they pull them together. Again, I need you just to write the definition at the first bullet. So, describe the movement of particles in a solid and the force between them. Somebody can answer that. Think about it. Basically, the motion between the particles, they vibrate in place and they're very close together. Now, different particle arrangements give different materials different properties. A diamond is what we call a crystalline solid. So those particles are arranged in a very specific repeating order. So you can see that's why diamonds have that beautiful shine. Charcoal is an amorphous solid, so they have random arrangements. They're just kind of everywhere. They're still very close, very attracted to each other, compact, but they're not as neatly organized as a crystalline solid. Now, crystallines are like diamonds and rubies and things like that. A liquid, this is your next word, is a matter with a definite volume but no definite shape. So at the bottom, I want you to draw this picture after you write your definition. Now, as you can see, the particles in a liquid, they have no definite volume. They have a definite volume, I'm sorry, let me say that again, but have no definite shape. I can pour water into a cup or pour it on a table, it doesn't matter. It's going to still have the same volume, the same particles are there. They're free to move past one another, they slide around, and they have an attractive force that's weaker than the solid, but they still like to hang out together. Liquids flow, and they can take the shape of their container. So if I have coffee, it has no definite shape, it takes the shape of the cup. If I accidentally spilt it on the floor, it would spread out like a little puddle, and let's hope that never happens. Now, the particle motion in a liquid is faster than particle motion in a solid by quite a bit. Here's your next word, viscosity. This is the measurement of a liquid's resistance to flow. Now, you can see that I have a picture of lava, and we have a picture of a person kayaking. Now, the person goes kayaking in the water. Why do they do that? You could pause and think about it. The liquid flows much easier in water than it would in lava. Also, the lava is very hot, and yes, I know it would burn the kayak, but let's pretend the kayak could go through lava. But the lava, kind of like maple syrup, is really slow. It has a high viscosity. Motor oil has a higher viscosity than water because water can flow easier. So when you're pouring syrup on your pancakes this weekend or waffles and you're having breakfast with your family, say, you know what, parents, this syrup has a high viscosity. And show them a new word. Now, molecules at the surface of a liquid have something called surface tension. This is your next word. This is the uneven forces acting on the particles at the surface of a liquid. So here's a picture. I say that's a little spider's leg. Some spiders and insects can walk across the water because the particles in the water and the surface tension enables the certain insects to walk on the surface because of the way they're pushing up. Okay, there's uneven. See how the particles lower have circular and there's particles all around? Here they get flat because it's the top of the water. The insect's able to kind of balance on that because they're not heavy enough to sink. So, describe the movement of particles in a liquid and the forces between them. You can pause and discuss or think about. The particles in a liquid are able to slide past one another, and their force is a lot weaker than solids. Okay? That's why they have no definite shape. Now, gas, this is your next word, is matter that has no definite volume and no definite shape. You could draw this picture at the bottom of your Cornell sheet in addition to this vocab word. Go ahead, you can pause and do that now. Now, the gas has no definite shape or volume. The particles are very fast, flying all over. There's gases bouncing off your head and books and everything right now. They do have a slight or weak attractive force between the particles, but it's nothing compared to like liquids or even close to solids. Now, they say, wait a minute, it has no definite volume. I could take all of the gas in the room and I could squish it into a cup. I can't squish the water. I can't squish a rock really too well. It might break. But gases, you can contain them in a container and make it smaller or bigger. Okay? Now, compared to the particles, like I said before, in a solid and a liquid, the particles in a gas are weaker and they are much farther apart. Now, in a gas, the force of attraction between the particles are not strong enough to keep the particles close together. That's because the particles in a gas, they're moving really, really fast. So the distance between them increases and the attractive force decreases. So that basically means they're far apart and they're not very strong, okay? The gas state of a substance that is normally a solid or liquid at room temperature, this is called a vapor. You can write this word down. I want you to think of some examples of a vapor, something that's a gas that's normally at room temperature, a solid or liquid. If you've ever boiled water, you've seen vapor. You see the steam coming off of there? Sometimes you see steam coming off things. Water vapor. Water can turn into a gas very easily, and we'll do some labs with that coming up soon. So, how do particles move and interact in a gas? Well, the particles are flying around all over the place very, very fast, and the attractive force is very weak. So they don't really like to hang out. They'll bump into each other once in a while, they'll say hello, and then they'll keep going around. Liquids, they like to slide past each other, and solids like to be really tight. So remember that. So here is your summary I want you to write on the back side of your sheet. In some part matter, particles can only vibrate in place. The particles are close together and there are strong forces among them. In other matter, the particles are far enough apart and the particles that can flow past other particles. So think about what kind of molecules these are. The forces among these particles are weaker than those that were shown before. Now, in other group of matter, particles are far apart and there's little to no attraction among the particles. So again, we just reviewed the difference between solids, liquids, and gases. So let's take a little quiz. Put 1, 2, 3, or 4 in your head, or A, B, C, and D with your fingers. Which describes the matter with a definite volume but no definite shape? If you said liquid, you were correct. Compared to a liquid, which best describes the particles of a gas? Are they closer together, farther apart, slower moving, or tightly packed? Now, compared to a liquid, think about a gas. In a gas, they are farther apart, okay? Which term refers to the gas state of a substance that is a solid at room temperature? Remember, we said vapor. Vapor is a solid at room temperature. Think of water, okay? Water steams, that's how we know. So, thumbs up, thumbs down. Particles moving at the same speed make up all matter. I hope you had a thumbs down in your head or you're doing it in front of you, because no, particles moving at the same speed do not make up all matter. Some particles move slower than others, and that's how we get solids, liquids, and gases, and we'll talk about that in the next lesson more in depth. Particles in a solid do not move. Thumbs up, thumbs down. You might have your thumb up, but it should be down. Even though you don't see the table vibrating, if you got to the atomic level, you would see that. Well, I hope you were able to get all your vocab words. If you need further explanation, rewind and write down any questions in the question section of your Cornell sheet. Also, go through, there is an interactive lab and videos and other enrichments to do. So good luck, and I hope you got something out of this. Have a good day.